So we are in lab 9 today. So things are moving right along as we close off the year. And
Yeah.
we usually have 1 week off a month, as you know, but because it's the end of the year, we're actually having 2 weeks off just because between Christmas and New Year's, it's just too crazy to try to do classes. So we'll start again January 7th. In other words, the first Tuesday in January for the last 3 classes in this course, and then we'll move on to the manifestation course in February. But you guys have done great, and it's good to see you. This is a very exciting class on spiritual plane communication. Sometimes it's called etheric plane communication. And in
Mhm.
your manual, you can find the description, which I'll put up on the screen, uh, on section V, which means 5V2. And there it is, spiritual plane communication. Oop,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, it's a wonderful process. It's a dialoguing with, you can do it with a lot of purposes in mind. So,
Mhm.
have you ever wanted to talk to, say, get advice or input from someone living or even someone who's not living or on another realm? And that's what we're going to do today. Also, and this is can be very powerful. Let's say you wanted to talk to a family member you were estranged from,
Mhm.
you haven't talked with, or maybe died. I remember I did this one time with one of our students whose cousin had committed suicide, so she had a dialogue on the spiritual plane with that person. So it's very good for communicating because, as you know,
Mhm.
not even in terms of quote people, they may not be alive, they may not be available, but you would like to
Mhm.
talk to them, right? And this is a perfect way to do so. So it's basically going to a higher plane like we do often in the course. And in this case, meeting whatever the guide, the angel, and with a topic or a focus and intent in mind, something you want to get input on, advice, clarity. And remember, just as another general pointer, any input or suggestions you get are not something you have to do or follow. You know, they are suggestions, uh, probably very good ones, and they may open your heart and may be just what you're looking for. But it's not like you're obligated to do everything that you receive in your messages. But generally, if you feel it is coming from a higher place and it aligns with you, it's great to have that input, right, and support. Okay, so you can get assistance in any area of life. I'm looking at the manual. Um, and we're doing it with a positive resource like an angel or guide today or a master. And the process is rather straightforward. Uh, Relax, go into a trance like we've done before, and you are having a subject in mind. And then um, just while you're sitting up, you imagine yourself rising up to the higher realms, and it might be a mystical mountain, a mountaintop type setting, relaxing, opening your mind, and then meeting your guide, whoever you may have. Just a general, I want to meet a higher guide. I want to meet an archangel. I want to meet one of my spirit guides. You may have an intent, or there may just be a higher being who shows up, which you then perceive and have a description of this being. And it then starts with a dialogue. And also you we often recommend sitting at a meeting place when you go up to the mountaintop or lofty cloud. You go to a meeting place to meet your guide or whoever you're going to meet on the spiritual plane, the higher plane. And then there's generally a dialogue back and forth with the questions. And generally, we try to get to some kind of resolution, a natural closing point, which usually occurs. And then you thank the guide and come back down in your seat and open your eyes and can process and go further. And there's a visualization here which we can follow exactly or roughly of what I just said, just putting it as a written script here.
Yeah.
Comments or questions about the process? Have Linda, have you ever done anything like this before?
No. Uh-oh.
Okay. Yeah. When you first do it, sometimes it might seem a little far out, but when
mm,
you do it, it seems quite natural, which is interesting.
mm. I had an experience with Jane.
On,
I
Tuesday.
did it with Jane, yes, on Tuesday. It was very powerful.
Hmm.
Incredibly. Yeah, it was powerful. Yeah,
Do,
I
do
listened
you
to
want
it.
to
Yeah.
share any of it or follow up briefly?
Well, yeah, I met an angelic presence, I think, as a kind of guardian angel that I had seen in a previous um, journey up to the mountain, maybe with Jane again. I can't remember. Perhaps you, Philip. I think maybe it was you, Philip.
Hmm.
And uh, we had an exchange, and this angel has always been with me. And what happened was a new umbilical cord was created between the spiritual guardian angel, and myself, healing the previous one with my mother, which had so much fear and distress in it.
Hmm.
So it was incredibly deep.
So
And
this is a guide who's always been with you through this lifetime or through other lifetimes, do you know?
I don't know, just appeared
Hmm.
in a previous journey up. Mm. The
Okay.
beautiful grace, I think it's an angel of grace. That's the
Hmm.
name I'm giving to it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
but to get to that higher dimension afterwards, that was a big experience for me. It showed how much I was able to trust that I would be safe in allowing that opening to
Hmm.
come.
Hmm.
Um, talking about basic survival, the
Hmm.
survival at its most basic, which has ruled a lot of my has been going on,
Sure.
you know.
All right.
So I wrote some notes down,
So
and
as a result of it, what was kind of the outcome of the connection? What did you receive?
well, I can see now. You see, even thinking about it, I'll see that presence of vegan
So
into
the presence is
of
more
this.
of support and the love and okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's always with me. Hmm.
Great. Thanks for
Mhm.
sharing that. And
Mhm.
welcome aboard. I see V is coming aboard. I don't know if she's quite connected yet.
I'm
Uh,
I'm connected, but I won't be on screen because I look crazy.
you look
Oh,
crazy.
I look crazy.
Yeah, well, same thing could be said about a lot of us, but we understand.
I'll
But
be
I'm
very
glad.
distractingly crazy. So,
Okay.
okay.
Anyway, I'm glad you could make it though. Even
Uh,
is better being on audio than not at all. So that's great. You could be
good,
here.
good.
And we're exploring the spiritual plane communication, which is very
mm,
powerful for communicating, in this case, a higher guide to get advice, input, and support on anything. I mean, it's kind of an amazing opportunity, a positive opportunity you couldn't refuse. Like, would you like a higher being who could connect and help you and give you answers, insight, and support on anything you want? That's what we're doing here. And when you're with clients, just to take it on that level, there are a lot of times unresolved issues that they want to talk with the person who, um, for various reasons, we see this in the class sometimes in demos, the person they're estranged from, they can't really talk to the person, but on the spiritual plane, nonetheless, you can, because you're talking at a deeper level to the person's kind of deeper awareness. Um, and some people, of course, are no longer living, or you just can't talk to them for a variety of reasons. Anyway, in this case, we're going to talk to a very positive resource, a higher guide, an angel, a being from a higher realm. Okay. So we start with a focus, meaning something we'd like to get input or support on. And that is what's something, given you could get information, insight, support on anything that you're wondering about your life, big or small, what would that be? Something you'd like to get a little clarity, a little bit more help on, a little more direction. V, anything coming to mind for you?
Not specific. I was just putting in the chat box, my next best step. You know, just sometimes to know that I'm about to make a big move in a couple of months again. And just to know that you're on the right path, you know, that's
That's a good one. What do you mind mentioning just briefly what the big move is?
Yeah, I'm moving back to the States in February.
Oh,
And
wow.
and I know I need to do that, but you know, like you're saying, if you're asking for spiritual guidance, you want
Mhm.
something that affects your spiritual growth
Yeah,
or spiritual impact of it.
yeah. And we can do a few of these too. So, you could have an opportunity to get that and then others could get information on something else too.
Okay, well, I don't mind.
Yeah, you bet. Just Linda, anything popping up yet for you?
I'm going to go into retirement, so
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
thank you.
and you're going in the next couple months, was that right?
Yes,
What is there a date? Is there a date
Uh,
set?
probably about 30 February,
February.
30,
Okay.
30.
Yeah. So that's just after the next course, the manifestation course. So you'll be probably
Mm-hmm.
manifesting the next phase of your life, right?
Right.
Okay. So can you think of a question around that? It could be around that or something related about wanting to get clarity, insight, direction about anything to do with that, or I'm just getting a couple things to focus on before we do a few demos here.
I can't think of anything.
Well, it will probably come. You might get a little clarity. But since V, if it's okay, since you started, let's see, how would you say, what would you like to focus on? This is a great opportunity. How would you put it, V, before we
Huh.
go to the spiritual plane?
Well, the whole point of me taking this, it's so funny how can get so distracted. Life can take
Mhm.
you off on different paths. The whole point
Yes.
of me, taking this course was that I wanted to be able to bring the spiritual in my work,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and not just be coaching,
Hmm.
goal, purpose coaching. And then I got
Hmm.
drawn into the work I am, and there's been a couple of times when people are in crisis,
Hmm.
and I asked them, this whole thing about when you're in crisis, having to kind of turn it over to something bigger than yourself.
Hmm.
And that's a way of speaking, but
I like that.
it's a way of speaking, but it's also a way of what we do in here, connecting with yourself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're with your higher self, with your spiritual self. So I've
Right.
had, and I don't, I by no means do I think I'm anybody to be telling me anything spiritual. I speak to my friends like that, but I'm talking about in a position of authority. But it's been a couple of times when I've had to speak to people, and I want in that because they had nothing to hold on to. They were in a position where and a lot of people are Christian, but
Hmm.
they don't feel connected. And some people aren't, right? But they don't
Yeah.
feel it's not work. A lot of people are really strongly faith-based Christian people, and they always turn it over to Jesus or God, right? And then some people are that's their belief system, but they don't know how to use it
Hmm.
when they really need it. So
Hmm.
so I'm just saying all that to say that's what I would like. I'd like my work to, I'm not trying to be an angel or anything. I'd like my work to be more spiritually connected because I feel like, I think I'm coming back around a little bit. I feel like any of my fears and any of my doubts, if I feel like I'm walking in the right path, I can handle it. I get through it.
Well put. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
exactly. Right.
yeah.
And just thanks for sharing that. There were some very good insights. Just a comment or two. the way the program is designed, as you know, although we have a spiritual holistic focus through the coaching and healing, and sometimes we do get into some farther out areas, the way the processes and the way we talk, we try to use very practical language that anyone could understand. And obviously, sometimes, like you said, V, you want to adapt some things to put it more in what a person might understand. There might be some words that, some people don't even want to hear the word soul, for example.
Right.
That's a challenging word for even some people. But
Yeah.
most people are pretty open to growing spiritually and improving. And if you can help them do that in a way that seems reasonable and having some rapport with them, and I know you're very good via developing rapport with people, usually people will respond well.
Yeah, I mean, today, is it today or yesterday? I was looking at some alternatives, which, of what people might believe in, right? Like if they believe in nature or Buddhism or
Yep.
Christianity or this or that. And then
Right.
they mentioned the word quintessence. So I had to look up, that was new to me.
That's an unusual, I mean, I know what it means, but it's a rare word. It's not a common word.
Right. I mean, used in that what reference, it was very interesting, which really means the essence of a thing,
Yeah,
right?
the essence of the essence, almost the ultimate essence. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
So I thought that was pretty, pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And I hope you had a chance to go back and listen to the centers class that we did last week on the centers of gravity and being intellectually centered and things like that. Because if you
Yeah.
understand that, that will answer many, many things about your life. Studying that, even just listening to the audio or studying for a couple hours, you will answer questions that may be with you unresolved without that. So there's some amazing insights in there. I would
No,
just encourage.
I was waiting for it to come out and then I missed it because I'm caught up in appointments and I'm working in the morning, like 4
Yeah.
mornings.
Yeah, you can catch the the replay now. And of course we have it written in the book, but I think for a lot of people, the overleafs and the centers of gravity, it's great to read about it, but when you're having a class and someone's just talking about it in regular language, there's people tell me that there's a lot more connections and a lot more understanding. It really ups your understanding in a big way.
Yeah, no, it's digesting because I did read it and I found it interesting, but it's good to hear people break it down because it's like chewing.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a great analogy. I
Mhm.
like that. Perfect. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me go back since we're going to be starting with you, and I'll just do a demo, and then I'll have uh then on the receiving end will be Linda or well, Pauline was on the receiving end last time, but we'll see where we want to be on this. Unless Linda, something popped up since we last spoke on a focus that you have.
Not this time.
Not yet. I'm going to come back to you and see if anything pops up. Okay. So V, we want to put it into a sentence. One sentence. I'm going to go up to the higher plane to connect with one of my guides. And I don't know if you have a guide or a higher being you want to focus with or an angel.
Mhm.
That's optional. Do you have one, by the way?
Well, I have a couple of things. I always say my prayers to creative consciousness and to my ancestors. I pray
Mhm.
Okay.
gratitude.
A higher ancestral guide. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that would work. That's good. And so that part we've got who you intended on connecting with. Now, the one sentence I'm going to focus on or ask this ancestral guide about, fill in the rest of the sentence if you can.
Okay. Oh,
I'm asking you now.
you want me to fill that
yeah, we
sentence?
want to have the
So
focus
what
now
I would like to-
before we do the process.
I don't, okay, what I would ask, somebody just in the hallway talking loud now, sorry. Very distracting. So, so what I would like to ask is that they be with me in my work, but that's not a specific question. But
Well,
so what,
Well, let me make a suggestion maybe to help you get to the one sentence fill in the blank, if that's okay.
yes,
Based on what you just told me 3 minutes ago. That's where I'm getting my information, by the way.
thank you.
You said you'd like to be able to get help having a more spiritual approach with, when you say people, are you talking about people at work or people in life or both? Who are you
I
referring to?
really meant the people that I deal with in work, but you know what? I need to, I have not been practicing doing my meditation practice since I went to New York and got COVID and got stressed out and all that. So I'm coming back on, starting it again. So I haven't been using it in my life. I haven't used that approach in my life. I mean, I try to be a decent person, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
To be spiritually kind of present, not just for the people that I'm trying to help or that I care about, but they're people that test me, you know?
Okay.
You know, yeah.
Okay. So I heard a couple kind of parts to this, and we'll see where it goes. How can I take a more spiritual approach to people in my work and people in my life?
How can I be more spiritually present with people I interact with in my life?
I like that even better.
Yeah.
So does that help getting a focus before we go there?
Yes, it helps
Yeah.
a lot. Thank you I apologize for
Oh
not
no,
being-
that's what the whole idea of coaching someone, as we've talked about in the program, that you want to get very clear about how you're going to help a person.
Oh, yeah.
Because generally, if someone you're helping with, when we're stressed, when we're having a problem in some area, we're not that clear, are we? If we were probably crystal clear, we may not even have the issue, or it might be not be a big deal, right? So part of it is the confusion, the vagueness, and if you can help the person get very clear, you're already partway there, and you'll get clear results usually. Okay,
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay,
Makes-
so now we're ready for the visualization. I'll just put it on the screen. I guess V, you can't see it, but well, I guess
I can
Linda.
see it. I can see
Oh,
the screen.
you can still see. We
I'm just
can't
off.
see. We can't. I forgot. We can't see you, but you can see us. So that's good that you can see this. There's the visualization V3.
Okay.
It's V synchronously.
Let me get
Okay.
I put my glasses down. Let me go get them.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah. Well, for you, you're going to be on the receiving end, so you don't need to read it. You just need to be. You're going to be the client, the practice person.
I'm so visual. I have to follow along.
Yeah. Whatever works for you.
Okay.
Whatever will help you process. Okay.
Okay.
Good. So it suggests in this to allow your eyes to close,
Okay. I'll close.
because that generally helps people go to a deeper state to be able to focus more when they
Yes.
relax with their eyes closed. It changes their brain waves.
Yes.
So you're breathing V, and we're all supporting you, breathing in pure, clear energy, which we can all do. Breathing it in nice through our nose and slowly releasing, exhaling this wonderful release, beautiful energy going through our whole body. Breathing in beautiful energy from the top of our head all the way, breathing in through our whole body to our toes, out our toes. Beautiful, easy, gentle breathing. And as you breathe more and more pure, clear breaths, your mind becomes more at ease. Any thoughts just drift away. Your mind becomes clearer and clearer with each breath you take. And your arms and legs continue to relax along with your midsection, feeling lighter and more at ease with every breath. And as you feel lighter and more relaxed, V, you can sense or feel yourself rising up, rising up. Just allow yourself to rise up easily and effortlessly. Just drifting up high to a beautiful place. It could be a mountaintop or clouds or some other place, a star, anywhere where you're in this beautiful, elevated place, beautiful, comfortable place, the right place for you now. And let the picture come more and more into your awareness. And let us know what you're experiencing, V.
I'm experiencing lightness of being. And I, for some reason, I really was able to respond to breathing in and then out to my toes.
Great. And as you feel this lightness and rising to this beautiful summit or cloud or mountain or some starry place, a beautiful, bright place for you.
Mhm. Yes, I
Yes.
have mountaintop.
And that's where your higher ancestral guide is there in the meeting place for you. So you can
Yeah.
begin to connect with this higher ancestral guide for you. And let us know when you're connecting with the guide.
I feel her.
Okay.
I feel her. I have a chest connection,
Yes.
like a chest connection. Yeah.
And what else are you noticing about her?
Well, what I'm so noticing, she's so available for me that it blows my mind because she's so powerful. Like, I wish I had one woman in my life like that. My godmother was like that.
Yeah,
But
she has some of that energy. So she's
yeah,
very available. Is there a look to her? Does she have an appearance
yeah,
yet?
she's very dark and solid.
Mm-hmm.
And she has like kind of, I want to call it an amulet, but it's like a chest plate. And
Yes.
there's energy just comes out of that, and it's all telepathic. It's just
Got it.
whatever
Wow.
got to
Okay.
say to me, it just comes into
The
my
chest plate has a telepathic capacity.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
yeah, something like, it's sort of like if a woman had a stone design, a little button, but it's huge, and it dress hangs kind of from it. It's from her chest, and her energy just comes right out, right out.
Beautiful.
And
Okay. And what's her name? Do you have a
I
name?
don't know her name,
Why
but
don't you ask her?
she's the matriarchy. She's the matriarchy of my ancestors.
Okay. Is there
She's
is there any one side of the lineage of your any particular lineage? Because you have
yeah,
four
yeah.
different ones there.
Yes. She's from my father's side.
Okay.
She's she's like from Africa, and she has before she stepped through, there was a bunch of beautiful, I don't know how they're my relatives because they were tall. Bunch of tall women with beautiful hairstyles and the
Okay.
clothes, beautiful, colorful clothes in this place. And then she just kind of, and they were very welcoming, but when she stepped through, she just stepped out of them, and all that energy and her communication came right out of her, like her chest plate into me.
Okay.
I
Very
mean,
good.
when I met her, that's what happened. And now she just was just there. She's still there.
She's there. And
Yeah.
and maybe her name will be revealed at some point. And does
Her
she have
name came through, but I don't really like this name.
you don't like the name?
This name does not go with the picture.
Well, it's up to you whether you want to share it or not.
I mean, the name came through as Pearl, but I have associations with that name, and that's
Well,
not an African name.
No, well, maybe she can comment on that too. Does she have any comment about her name
Let me see.
or the name that you just came up with there?
Well, the only feeling comment I get is that I just have to accept things for what they are.
Okay, that's
Because
often a good message.
yeah,
Now, does she have a beginning, something before we go into your question? Does she have anything she wants to initially say to you?
the vibe I'm getting is that she's happy that I'm trying to communicate like this.
Right.
'Cause I'm at her
Yeah,
place.
the ancestors often are very happy that we reach out to them. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I'm surprised, and because you know what? I lost so many people in life, people have passed away,
Right.
and so I don't even think that I feel like I have anybody who's always there for me. I mean, I have friends that
Uh-huh.
are there for me, but they're living their lives. I mean, this
Sure.
kind of spiritual presence.
Right. Well, shall we ask your question about ask her, do you want me to refer to her as Pearl or not?
No, don't refer to.
Okay. And there may be something behind, there may be something in that too that we can look at or
Yeah.
you can look at later. So, but the focus, what you said you wanted to focus on is being more spiritually present the people in your life,
Yes.
and her response.
She always gives me these. Okay, so the last time, the first message she ever gave me was, I felt her. So you know how people say, I see you?
Mm-hmm.
So it would, she saw me, but it was really about that. It was that I felt her. I mean, it just was just there in my chest.
Mhm.
And when she stepped through the other women and her presence and her energy. And I thought I had mentioned this in class before, months ago, but what the message she gave me then was, be you for me. That was the message, right? Which totally makes sense to me that ancestor would say that, right?
Sure. Yep.
And then, so just now, the message, the simple message I get is just be. If I just, to really just be is presence, right? And it's not an easy thing to do.
Mhm. So
And
her message to you is just
just
be.
be, yeah, like if I say I want to be spiritually present, then I just need to be that.
Mm-hmm.
I have to allow myself. This is not easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is,
Th-
and it isn't.
Does she have any suggestions about how you can allow yourself to be more present?
Well, I think that I have to practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm uncomfortable and if this is what I want, then I still need to just go ahead and practice it, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm facilitating a class and we're talking about some really heavy stuff. And I
Right.
check with myself. I check to myself, I'm thinking, okay, do you really want to share this with them? Do you think
Mhm.
this will help them? And
Mhm.
then and then once I check with myself, then I go ahead and share it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, it seems very it seems very useful. And but when a lot is going on with emotions and stuff, you want to be an active listener, right? And you want to listen, not respond. So I
Mhm.
always check myself, is this because the spontaneous spiritual sharing is kind of spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to check myself, but then I have to give myself permission. That's what I'm trying to say.
So is that what the guide is saying? Give yourself permission.
Yeah, just be. I think it means to have the courage, to have courage.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that can help you get the permission or have the courage? Is she suggesting anything?
And think on it. Listen, I'll listen. That is in my chest. It's in my chest. It's inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
It's in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say or ask her before we close this spiritual plane communication?
I just want to send love and gratitude, and what it is this is my life's work at this particular time, and that's
Mhm.
to accept what I have to offer.
Yes.
That's what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
with any of the coaching I've always done, it all comes down to self-worth for all of us. I was talking to Jane about that the other week,
Mm-hmm.
down to self-worth, and from that comes self-confidence and self-esteem. But first,
Yeah,
we have to,
recognize you have inherent self-worth for sure. We all do.
because
Yeah.
that's going to lead everything else, right?
Yeah.
It's going to make
Recognize that. Yeah.
healthy decisions. It's going to make
Yeah.
you make healthy boundaries, and it'll maybe help you see that whatever intuition you have is worthwhile.
Right. Validated value. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Self-value. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Very good self-esteem too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Good. So, have you finished thanking the guide? Have we completed that
I
part?
send that love from my chest, from my
Uh-huh.
heart, I send that love and gratitude. That's always what.
Beautiful. Okay. So thanking your guide and all that you've received and the energy and guidance and ready to come back down, V, coming back down through your head, through your whole body, through your toes, grounding into the earth, coming back, knowing that you can have the courage that you need. You can give yourself permission to be more present. Uh, you can deal with things and recognize your self-worth. Ready to open your eyes on 5, 1, 2, coming back, 3, ready to open your eyes, removing anything you don't want, and 4, remembering anything you do want, 5, opening your eyes, returning refreshed, alert, back in the room. Very good.
Thank you.
Just grounding yourself with any water, just looking around, making sure you feel back here.
Yes.
Good job. Great.
Thank
That was a wonderful example. How was that for you, V?
Oh, that was perfect and right on time because, going through this process I've been going through the past week,
Sure.
I'm just kind of out of myself, look, not
Oh,
out
yeah.
of but not out of sorts, not totally myself, but it's all a lesson about being present. When I'm in practice, when I do have any spiritual practice, I'm so much more available. It's easy because it's easy to be present, to stay present. So
Yeah.
that's what's important, and I'm just really
Yeah,
grateful that.
and that is great. We're really glad we're seeing a lot of progress with you over the months here, seeing where you began and where you are now, which is very different, by the way. It's
Really?
oh yeah, well, let me put it this way. So I think this is something maybe all of you. So when people enter the class, we kind of have a sense of kind of where they are and where they're coming from just because of, how they process and what they're aware of and so forth. And then as time goes on, things that they suddenly take for granted and can do, that wasn't where they started. That awareness of yourself was not there at all when you started, and a lot of the rough edges and the challenges. So we've seen a lot of growth in all of you, but just speaking now to you. But that's just generally the case, and it's just it's a big jump. It's a big leap, and it's hard to know where you are now because you're now, and you're like all of us, you're facing more things now. But
Yeah,
if you go back for yourself, 9 months and where you started, uh, you might be really surprised at the way you were then compared to the way you are now. Not that you didn't bring a lot to the table and hadn't accomplished a lot already when you started.
I understand. Because I remember asking you, my whole thing was, how do you really connect with the soul through your heart? I remember
Right.
asking you
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
right,
I wanted a breakdown because that's
right.
what yes, yes.
Yeah, and that's a good question, but ultimately, as we know, it's not an intellectual journey. There's a lot of wonderful information and knowledge, but that's why the program is a year. I mean, that's why it's not
Yeah.
a month. And there are other programs that are a month, and you just
Mm.
aren't going to get that far if you're going into depth, into mastery, into things like we're talking about here, profound healing and life-changing stuff. Uh, it just takes a little time and energy, and you can't force it. You can't you can't do a quick fix. You can sort of accelerate it and take some shortcuts with some support, but you do have to experience things and really integrate it deeply into yourself.
Yes.
Mm.
Wow.
It takes time and some effort.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So we're really proud of all of you and seeing where you started. And I think I could say the same to Linda and Pauline that I did to you about where you were, say, 9 months ago, a couple courses ago, and where you are today. As this one is going on the last quarter of this life purpose course, then we go into the manifestation course again in February, which some of you might want to review that too, which is a very good thing to review the course if you can.
I feel like I still have a long ways to go because there's so much information.
It is. And, Margaret, who's not with us, she's taking it on a second round. That's why she's there. And you may hear people like Margaret and others who review the course. Sometimes we have several people reviewing the course. They often will say something like, I'm getting it so much more this time.
Right.
So what your experience is completely normal. We do know it's a lot of material, and we also do not expect you to be able to learn or absorb it all. We're still learning it. That's why it's exciting to teach it again every year, because there's so much depth to it. I don't say, well, I've done the spiritual plane in previous years. I know that. It's just kind of, ho hum. No, it's fascinating. It's different every time. connecting with the ancestors like V did. That's very exciting and dynamic and new. And Pauline connected with her spirit guide angel. I mean, that was interesting and high points. And what Linda will probably be doing in a minute, that'll be another high point.
I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Like I said,
We
so
don't-
much information.
we
It's
don't- yeah.
interesting.
And I think I have a suggestion for your question in just a moment from what you just told me. But I just want to conclude with V. Is there anything else, V, before we close that demonstration?
Yes, let me see if I can put it into words. So, you know, what I'm learning, because I'm in therapy now too. I'm doing cognitive behavioral therapy, and and it's been helping me a lot. So, because she's like an ultimate coach. She's actually Nigerian. She's pretty amazing
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
So she's like a coach, because I guess cognitive behavioral therapy has a lot of like techniques that are similar. So she asked me really good questions, and now that I explained all that to you, I kind of lost my train of thought. So you were asking me anything, so
Yeah, go ahead.
it's like, what would it be like if I could just be free? You know, we were talking about eventually, and I couldn't even get the mishmash of feelings in my body to
Right.
even imagine. But the other part of myself was like, whoa, it was like you were talking about feeling light and lifting up. It would like being weightless, exhilarating weightlessness. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. So I'm starting to see that bleed over into my overthinking
Mhm.
life, you know.
Mhm.
So some things I can let go of a little bit and things become lighter.
Right. Yeah,
mean-
and that's the kind of progress we're seeing in you, what you just described, by the way.
I mean, it was mind blowing to me. Remember that book, The Unbearable Lightness of Being?
Yeah.
Book from like the 70s and 80s. And and so I'm thinking that's where I'm hoping to go with being myself. And then she also said, what's holding the V back? The V that you are, your authentic self. What's holding you back? So even to get outside of myself by trying to cogitate those questions, let alone answer them, right? So I'm seeing something, and it's work, and it takes time, as you say. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for sharing, and that's great. And again, I just recommend going back to that centers 2 weeks ago.
no,
I
I'm
think,
going to go the whole thing.
yeah,
I gotta
that's going to answer a
Yeah.
couple of the questions you were just posing there. But anyways,
Well-
and we explored it in depth. Great. Thank you for sharing that very beautiful process. Good
Thank
feat.
you.
So that takes us what I'm going to ask Linda out of what she was just saying, if you were saying there's so much to learn. Was that how you were saying it, Linda?
Yeah.
How did you,
Yes, it's a
was
lot.
that, there's a lot, it's kind of an overwhelm. There's so much. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
it's not overwhelming.
It's not
No, it's
overwhelming,
not
just a
overwhelming.
lot. Okay.
It's interesting. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
I've taken classes that's boring, and you know, you
Yeah,
ready
right.
got a class, but here you want to learn. So it's so much to learn, and you want to learn it.
Okay.
You know, you it's a lot to experience. And I feel
Okay.
like
Thank
I'm
you. Thank
missing
you for
something if I don't, you know,
missing something if you don't what?
if I miss a class, I feel like I'm missing something. But I usually
Yeah.
listen to the recordings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there is a lot.
I try to do a lot of reading, but it
Yeah.
is a lot. It is interesting.
And some of it we pick up and refer to and kind of, as I said, overlap in different classes. So sometimes you'll get it in different ways in a future class. So is there any question in that about the learning, or are you pretty comfortable with the idea that there's a lot to learn and you're good with that? Or is there any
I'm
question?
good with that. I'm
Yeah,
good with
it sounds like you're good with that. Now you help clarify me on that. So I get it. It's not really
not
a challenge.
overwhelming, but it's just interesting. It's something I want to learn. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I'm not getting it, but it's something that I
Yeah.
want to learn. You know.
And is there a question about guidance or things coming up in your life that you would like to get more clarity?
Not at the moment. I
Okay.
don't think so.
And is there something, Pauline, for you that you'd like to get guidance or clarity on? More?
Something came up this morning. I don't want to get into it a lot, but it's was to do with the news. And I didn't, it's not in English, it was just a picture.
Mhm.
And the picture wasn't clear, but in a way I knew what it was about. And it's very distressing, you know, what's happening in certain parts, well, everywhere. But
Mhm.
it got me so much because this particular country I've thought about several years ago, and you know the women and children and you know, all
Mhm.
that's going on, and what I don't even want to know because I can sort of imagine. It gives me shivers. So I was like, what can we, you know,
Mhm.
I need to find something to help me. So I did kind of um, think about this grace angel, and what came up for me was the light. Think of the light, create the light. That's the only thing you
Mhm.
can do, you know, make more light, be
Well,
more
it
light,
sounds like you did actually a very good process on it already.
you know, because I mean, that's all we can do.
Mhm.
You know, the more people that can, you know, be with the light, feel the light, you know, what was his name on Heart Math? Um,
Ralph McGrady, there's
that's right, yeah.
Dak Children, there's a couple of them. Yeah.
I remember his words, you know, what are you feeling? What are you feeling the field
Mhm.
today? Because
Yeah.
it influences, you know, the earth. I just,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
light is
that's all beautiful. Yeah.
light.
And now, in terms of doing a spiritual plane process, would you like to get further exploration of that, like helping people in need? It sounds like that you saw in the news from that picture. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, how can
We're elsewhere suffering?
change the, you know, change it in some ways that these
Yeah.
things never happen. I mean, you know, it's like going back to pure, what do you call it? Survival, but really basic survival.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's lost everything. And the people who have been doing that, I mean, their souls and what on earth happened to them, it's just, you know, it just got me. All I could see was the light.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
and you already have some very good resources on it. Would you, but the question is, in terms of today, would you like to do another exploration of the connecting with the higher guide to get further insight
Yeah.
into helping? So just so we all understand it, that you're talking about someone in another part of the world who is suffering or what is in a war zone or poverty or what or something.
But just what's come up recently about Syria. But I
Oh, in
mean,
Syria.
Mhm.
it's been in my mind for several years worrying about that place. But there are other places, of course, the poverty and starvation in Africa. But this particular, you know, place, I get shivers when I think about it. And I don't, you know, details, I don't even need to
Yeah,
know.
so she was suffering in
Mhm.
Syria. Okay.
Yeah, where the
And
women.
and this is a
Mm,
natural soulful exploration. People like us who are raising their consciousness and their vibration
mm,
become probably increasingly sensitive to all the suffering in the world. And that's
mm,
natural and normal.
Mhm.
And that's why they sometimes say connecting with the soul evokes a sort of a tenderness and a sadness even at first, because
Mhm.
you're
mm.
feeling a lot of the suffering in the world and people's sorrow and anguish. So Linda, would you like to take Pauline to the spiritual plane and have a dialogue with a higher being or her angel on the suffering of the like that lady in Syria?
Uh, I was trying to find the pages. Are we working out of
Well,
book?
the visualization is on V353 in your manual, the manual V3. I have it up there. But basically, it's just doing a visualization and having her meet the her higher guide or angel,
Mhm.
getting a description of the angel or the guide, and then just having a dialogue about the suffering and what she can do with the suffering in the world, like this woman in Syria who she saw was suffering. And Pauline would ask, you know, the questions and dialogue with what she's picking up.
So I asking her questions or
Yeah, you're going to be the coach. You're going to conduct her to the spiritual plane, the higher plane, where she meets her higher guide and asks her about the suffering in the world, when particularly this woman in Syria, and what she can do about it, how to proceed.
Okay.
No.
Would you like to give it a
So-
try?
I'm gonna try. Okay,
Okay,
so
great. Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, I'm gonna ask her to close her eyes to relax.
Good.
Uh, so does she have to say I'm going to up to the higher plane or whatever?
Well, you're guiding her. This is a visualization where you're guiding her now.
Okay.
You're taking her to the spiritual plane to have this to meet her guide and have a dialogue about the issue. Are you ready to start, Linda?
Yeah, I'm trying to read this. It's pretty small. Okay, Pauline,
Mm.
can you take deep breaths,
Mm.
allowing the energy of your breath to flow through your body, bringing clarity and relaxation.
Mm.
Imagine that you're breathing in pure energy and notice how good it feels as it touches each of the cells of your body, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Now breathe this pure energy into your mind, feeling it clear as all the odd thoughts drift gently off into the air. So your mind becomes clearer with each breath. Now feel this clarity drifting down your body, your arms, your legs. Allow your entire body to level, clear. Feel clear and relax. And how does that feel?
Yeah, it feels very nice, very comfortable. Thank you.
So as you continue to breathe,
Yeah.
inhale even lighter energy now.
Mm.
Feeling it clear as all the thoughts drift gently off into the air. Feel yourself gently rising into the sky. Noticing the buildings become smaller below as you breathe in lighter energy and rise higher. Allow yourself to continue up into some puffy clouds, a higher mountaintop, or maybe even onto a star, where you can view your life from an elevated perspective. You would know the right place for you. Where do you sense yourself going?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And where do you sense yourself going?
Yeah, I'm up there, I think, yeah. In a wider space, yeah. Mm. On a kind of plateau, I think, in the clouds, and my angel, this grace presence, this angelic being, we're together up there. Mm. We've both come up there together because it's always with me.
As you arrive, you will find yourself in a place where you can relax.
Yeah, yes. In a meeting, well, in a place, yeah, meeting place in the clouds. The air is very light.
Mhm.
Yeah. A little bit of sound. I can hear sound. Mm.
Okay.
on the left side. It's always on my left side. Even what I'm seeing is on my left side.
So you say your angel is Grace? Did you say Grace?
Yeah, that's yeah, how I see it, how I can call her, since it's a feminine presence,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very big. The wings are very large. It's white,
Mhm.
a bit lacy, that kind of thing. Mm. Having a break up there in this rarefied air. A rest,
Okay.
because I feel some sadness, heaviness, yeah, and because I had these strong feelings come up
Mm-hmm.
this morning. It feels like a bit of a weight. That's reality
Mm-hmm.
in this three-dimensional experience.
Okay, I think the page moved.
Mm. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
No, I was trying to read this when the page moved.
Okay, okay. Mm.
So take another deep breath. Prepare to return.
I haven't quite finished up there yet. Okay, is that all right? Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I want to stay a bit longer because I want to feel the energy,
Mm-hmm.
of this loving presence. I want to feel it really cover me.
So you want to take another deep breath and relax.
And it doesn't mean that the pain and suffering that's going on in the world, especially now,
Mm-hmm.
in different areas and different ways, and this particular country, 7 years ago, I mean, not 7, during COVID, and the women, the females, and the children, and everything. And now it's highlighted, I believe. Um, it can't, that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, where's light? She gives me light. And because it's light, it's love it's only that. It's the only
Mm-hmm.
thing that can truly transform this situation and situations like this. I'm understanding that now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different kind of love that you know, children's love, mother love, romantic love, love of things. I've recently realized this is a different kind of love.
Mm-hmm.
With regard to all my fears and stuff, this is a love that can hold that and clear that. It's, yeah. And even if I get out of it, or get out of that presence, I can get it back because it's part of me. I think, yeah, it's having that strengthened and helping others be with their light. thinking about that prayer. What is it? The love that passes all understanding. The light. Yeah.
Is there a message?
Sorry,
Is there a message or anything that
message.
you're getting?
Yeah, in that. Yeah, the light that is forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's timeless, ageless. And remembering that. Yeah, that's the message I've gotten from up there.
And how does this make you feel?
I'm glad, very glad to get it. It will help me. It's what I want to sort of focus on in my daily life with my stuff that's happening. Happens. And now, it's the solstice, maybe tomorrow, the longest night. And I've been feeling, yeah, it's been a long night. We've been going through a long night, and now we're facing the light. I think it's today or tomorrow. It's timely. Yeah.
Need your help, Philip. I'm not sure.
Well, I think we've kind of covered it. Just say, is there any other questions, Pauline, you'd like to ask your guide?
No, I'm just so glad to have found her and, really have her in me through that umbilical cord.
So a good thing to say, Linda, toward the end like this is, does that feel complete?
Polly, does that feel complete?
Yes, it does. It does.
So she already did thank her guide, but she could do that again and you could bring her back down, Linda.
Okay, Pauline, you want to thank your guide?
Yeah. Thank you for your presence.
Now take a deep breath and prepare to return back to your normal state. As you leave this beautiful place and start to drift back down, make a note of how you feel now compared to with the way you felt when you left on the journey.
Very powerful. Empowered.
Now breathe in more active energy as you come all the way back down through the air, back to where you started, feeling very grounded and refreshed.
And I have to sort of just, bring myself down.
And you can just ask her to notice things like her feet on the floor and being in the room. And when she opens her eyes, any things she's noticing with her eyes, or to take a drink of water, those just very grounding kind of things coming back from a deep place.
You can take your time and open your eyes when you're ready.
So when people go to in deep states like especially Pauline did and V earlier, we want to make sure afterwards that they're grounded, that they feel their feet on the ground, they drink water. Pauline, what's a physical object you're noticing in front of you? What's before you there?
Well, beyond the screen, I've got, the rice fields and the trees and
The
nature.
outdoors, you mean?
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah, so
outdoors.
that helps ground her, just seeing those things you see. Yeah. Linda, was there any, if you were to sort of give an affirmation based on what she said, was there any words that you'd like to repeat back to her that she said? I don't know if you had a chance to note any.
No, I can't.
I can't. It's one or two I can't remember myself. It's
Yeah,
so
I've got
many.
them written down. And Linda, did you make? I know you were just trying to do the process. I don't know if you made a note of any of the things Pauline said or remember
No, I
anything.
didn't make anything.
She said things that that the light is part of her.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful things.
And that the light is forever.
And the
That'll,
light, I was,
that'll,
that's beautiful.
that'll stick with me.
Yeah, I'll remember that myself. Right. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. And that
Yeah.
she can
Linda
get,
has a very soothing voice too. She has a great voice.
she does.
Yeah,
And
I think, yeah.
something she said, which it might, I'm thinking about you, V, now. She said, and if I lose the light or if I get out of it, I can get it back at any time because it's part of me.
Mhm.
It's beautiful, beautiful.
And that would be another way of talking about the spiritual presence.
Yes, yes, yes.
If you ever feel
Mm.
out of it or kind of, and I do that sometimes, like, hey, I'm, I kind of lost track here. I'm, something really
Mhm.
disrupted me. I went down a rabbit hole. Okay, I'm down the rabbit hole. Let's get back to ground zero, feet on the floor, breathing, be more present, be more loving, think
Mm.
of something positive. It's not the end of the world. You can recover. You can learn from it. You can grow. These things happen.
Mhm.
In the Gurdjieff work, which we've drawn on some of the Gurdjieff-Ouspensky and the centers of gravity and the body types, by the way, there's a bonus audio on body types, which you haven't really even talked about, which are quite important, which you can learn in the
Mhm.
in the workbook and the bonus audio. Part of that is just getting a sense of what he would say is your work eyes, your positive self-talk. Called them work eyes, like I apostrophe S, things you say, like they're kind of like friendly reminders, things like, hey, we go to a lot of negative places easily because we have these ingrained patterns, some of them for survival. But if we develop, hey, I just lost the light, but I know I can get it back because it's part of me, to draw on what Pauline experienced, that's beautiful.
And especially, I think, on sunny days, like we've got the sun here, we've got the great light, the light that keeps the whole planet
Yes.
alive.
Yes.
Yeah. And even when it's cloudy, it's there. It's above the clouds, the light.
Right. Right.
Mm. Mm.
Any other comments or question on this spiritual plane
Mm.
communication?
That's right.
It's a good class.
Very.
Glad I'm glad I showed up.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
But
Yeah.
it's late. It's late with the medicine. I get really wiped out, but I obviously needed this, and I appreciate your note today saying you can show up. It's still going to be a healing class.
Right. Well, the classes have sort of, even the classes on Tuesday have a healing element, and there's demonstrations, of course, and we're continually talking about deep soulful healing. But especially the labs, hey, if you're feeling down, probably one of the most therapeutic things in healing and nurturing things you could do for yourself is to show up in the lab, even if you said, hey, I need to be on the receiving end today. I need some healing. I need some positive support.
And I received so many takeaways from listening to you and your journey. Yeah, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I think I say too much, but
No, everyone.
it works. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I tried to write it all down because it was so, I wanted to hear it. Thank you so much.
Oh no, thank you so much for listening, because it's intense sometimes,
Right.
Mm.
And all of us being coaches and healers, going out into the world and sharing that light, developing that inner light, that strength, and more consistency and depth. And we really need each other to support each other because we're supporting other people. That's what we're talking about, right? So
Yes.
we need to have this strong support and
Mm.
ability to feel confident that, you know, we're not always giving out, we're also receiving too in this regard.
Mm.
For sure, for sure. You know, I saw on your website where you had a group, and I guess that site that is not available anymore. You know, on your website, you talk about a group that you can
Mm.
share with, and I clicked on it.
Our website,
Yeah, it was
a
about,
group that you can share. It's hard to say because sometimes we have groups temporarily and then
right,
we disband them and they still might be on a link somewhere because we have such a big website.
okay.
It might have been an old link. I'm sorry if that's what it was. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was active or not, yeah.
Yeah, but right here, this is a great community, this little small community in our course here with the people now and the people coming in next time and so forth, to get to know each other, to share the support.
I also like to thank Linda too
Yes.
for taking
Oh,
me
thank
up,
you.
Linda. Yeah, you have a
I
lovely
tried.
voice. You have a lovely voice
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. You
Yeah, but,
gave it
yeah.
a good effort there and I'm glad
Right.
you participated, Linda.
Right.
Thank you.
And you
Yeah.
have
I'm
a
gonna-
seductive energy in your voice.
Yes.
It's great.
Mm.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. I agree. And
I'm going to have to say goodbye in a few minutes because I've got
yeah,
a
we're getting
student
to the
coming.
last couple minutes here. And
Uh,
remember, 2 weeks off. This is the longest break here, so it's going to be a while before we connect January 7th, that Tuesday. We're going more in then to more of the obstacles and opportunities that Jane started with you. Those are quite profound. More on everyday metaphors. We touched on that earlier, and the reality shift, different problems and solutions, and also how to teach classes in the last class. That's a very fun and enlightening sort of different class on your life purpose because we're all teachers and students, how you can practically do that. So in closing, a final comment or final takeaway for today, something you'd like to mention, something you'd like to note from today's
Well,
spiritual plane. V?
yeah, you know, every time most of the time we have a new visualization or technique practice, I think, oh, this is my favorite one. So
Right.
today, I'm thinking that this
Right.
is my favorite. I'm thinking you said that like to yourself 2-3 times before.
Yeah, Jane and I say that, and we sound like, you know, we're wondering if people thinking we're insincere in just saying that, but when we get into these things, they're so fascinating and profound and revelatory.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
Yes, but both of those processes with you, V and Pauline, those were beautiful.
They're
And we've
nice.
had just extraordinary little labs here, and I know it's been a small group, but these last few weeks are just mind-blowing, some of the things that have occurred in these little groups.
So I'm going to say goodbye to you now, and
We'll say goodbye, and we're all just about to say goodbye to everyone. Anything else, Linda, take away for today?
No, everything was good. Like I said, every class to me is a learning. I'm
Great.
learning a lot. So
Great to have you with us, and have a great
I feel very
break.
warm.
Feel free to connect with Jane or me if anything comes up or questions. We'll see you January 7th. Have great holidays and New Year's.
We
you
have a
too.
great
Thank you.
spiritual
Bye-bye.
holiday.